Hi, my name's Cassidy Robertson, and this is my audience. Oh, if I can.
Hello.
There's three of y'all.
Hi. Hi.
Okay. Like I said, my name's Cassidy Robertson, and today I'm going to talk to you about the flu shot. I'm going to talk to you about the shot and ways to prevent the flu, what the flu is, and myths that surround the flu shot. First of all, well, it's that time of year, and I know you guys pass by Walmart and Rite Aid, Walgreens, and see all the shot signs, get your flu shot here. I don't like shots myself, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't like shots either. I know a lot of you, or some of you might feel, it's important to get the shot, but maybe don't know really why it's important to get the shot. So, like I said, I'm going to talk to you about what the flu is, and about the shot, and ways to prevent getting the flu, and myths that surround the flu. One of the sources I have is Center for Disease Control and Prevention. It's cdc.org, and let me get myself straight here. As quoted from the site, the flu is a contagious respiratory illness caused by influenza viruses that infect the nose, throat, and lungs. It can cause mild to severe illness and at times lead to death. The best way to prevent the flu is by getting a flu vaccine each year. So first of all, how do you know that you have the flu? So what is the flu? Common symptoms are fever, cough, sore throat, body and muscle aches, and an important thing to remember is not everybody gets a fever, so you may not necessarily have a fever. And most of us really attribute the muscle aches, just feeling achy all over. The best... Next. Lord. So, how do you get the flu? It's a virus. Like I said, it's spread by droplets in the air from coughing, sneezing, even talking. You can spread droplets in the air. So it's important to cover your mouth when you sneeze and cough, and I know everybody knows that. Important to wash your hands. And the most, single best way to prevent the flu is to get a flu vaccine each year. There are actually different forms of the vaccine. I know you guys are all familiar with the shot. The shot itself is an inactivated virus, so it's a dead virus. And it takes 2 weeks to build antibodies. Do you guys know what antibodies are?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Well, it's proteins that destroy the virus if you come in contact with it. And it's usually for 6 months of age to 64, and so long as you're healthy. They also have a high-dose vaccine, and that's for 65 and above, and they actually started giving it to children as well. And the last form is a nasal spray. I know you guys are all familiar with the nasal mist, which is new, just came out not too long ago. A lot of people prefer to get the nasal mist because they don't have to get stuck in the arm with the needle. That's actually a weakened virus, and we'll talk a little more about that in a little bit. So now that you know what the flu is and how to prevent it, let's talk about why it's so important to prevent the flu. The main reason is the complications from the flu. It's not actually the flu itself, but what comes from it. Bacterial pneumonia is a common complication, ear infections, and sinus infections. I remember when I had the flu, the first week wasn't very fun because of the flu, but the second week I was praying for the flu back, and that was because of a sinus infection. It was the worst pain in my head I ever felt. So Some interesting facts. I had no idea that so many people from the years 1976 to 2006, 49,000 people died from flu complications. And as quoted from a news release by the FDA, Dr. Karen Midthun, the director of the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, it is important to get vaccinated every year, even if the strains in the vaccine do not change, because the protection received the previous year will diminish over time and may be too low to provide protection in the next year. So, the next one there. Another thing I want to talk about is community immunity, which I think is a really catchy little phrase for everybody to protect yourself from preventable diseases. It's really easy. If you get a shot in the arm, that's it, and you protect not only yourself but your loved ones, your family, your community. So it might help you remember, by remembering community immunity. Another interesting number that I read was 5 to 20% of Americans develop the flu every year. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people that get sick each year from it. And it's especially important for certain people to get the flu shot, in particular children 2 and below and the elderly. Their immune systems for children they're not very well developed, and for the elderly, they obviously they usually have weakened immune systems. So now that we know what the flu is, how to prevent the flu, and why it's important to prevent it, let's talk about myths. That's my favorite part. It's the fun part, if you will. I hear so many myths from people. I give flu shot clinics every year, and the most common one I hear is the flu shot can give you the flu. Well, it's just not true. First of all, if you remember, we talked about the shot itself is a dead virus, so it's impossible to get the flu from a dead virus. Even the weakened strain in the nasal mist is genetically altered to where you can't get the virus from it. So it's been removed to where the part that causes the virus can't give it to you. And a lot of times, people get sick around this time of year, so they attribute it to, well, I just got my flu shot, so now I'm sick. And it's just not true. The second most common myth is that elderly get it. That also is not true. More commonly, children get the flu, and they're most often hospitalized than even the elderly. So it's very important that our children, as well as the elderly, get the vaccine. And the third myth are vaccines are dangerous. Well, there's no link between vaccines and child development causing developmental delays or issues. It's just not been proven. And if you have any further concerns or questions about the flu shot, then you can talk to your doctor about it. And they can definitely clear up any questions you might have about the safety of its use. So now we've talked about the flu shot. We've talked about what it is and ways to prevent the flu, and some interesting myths around the flu shot. And I hope you guys were able to maybe clear up a couple of myths, or maybe gain a little more knowledge about what the flu is. And that concludes my speech for today. Oh, and actually, I have a really neat handout as well that I wanted to give each one of you about the flu, everything that I talked about today about the inactivated influenza. So,